All right. Perfect. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a magnificent guest with us all the way out of California, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Ayatollah Marv, the oldest active member of the Pirus. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Yes, sir. This means a lot to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, that you would take time out of your busy schedule to have a conversation with us. The first question that we have for you is, when did you first, let's start with the, when did you first, how did you become a Piru?
Well, initially, I'm from Compton. Okay. I was born on Nightmare on Elm Street, Compton, California. We ran Freddy Krueger out of Compton, Elm Street.
Yes, sir.
We were the generation of no from the 60s to the 70s. Compton is the first Black-run city west of the Mississippis. We had the first Black mayor, Black city council, Black fire chief, Black police chief by 1970. And it was, a lot of people try to say, oh, it wasn't the first Black city, but the records show it's the first Black-run city west of the Mississippis. You know, in 1969, the Black population was so great in Compton, we were 68% of the population with whites and Blacks. Today, in 2023, Mexicans are 68% of the population. So we've disenfranchised, demoralized ourselves to the numbers, but we still have a Black control in the city council and the mayor, which ain't doing nothing. You know, it's just like the dry bones. So getting back to it, in early, I was at Cressy Park, which is now Gonzalez Park. I was like 8 years old, and some Peckerwoods rolled up on us on Rosecrans when Rosecrans was a 2-lane street with no sidewalks, and asked for directions. And when they asked for directions, my brother told me, man, don't walk up on the car. I walked up because my mother them is from Mississippi. They say white folks is your friends. The police are your friends. I walked up giving them directions how to get to Wilmington. And these white boys, they had to be 19 or 20 years old. I never forget them. They had a Crown, a 1958 Crown Victoria, Ford Crown Victoria. And I walked up on the car, and these Peckerwoods threw rotten eggs and tomatoes on me, right? And laughed hard as it was the funniest thing that they could ever do to them. And at that time, I couldn't understand why somebody would do me like that. And after that, they took me home. My mother told me, you shouldn't be walking up on these people. And me and my buddies, we had a vengeance. I was always into gangster movies, Edward G. Robinson, The Untouchables, and in Hell's Kitchen, he had made had blackjacks. So we went and tired up some water hoses, cut water hoses off and wrapped them with black tape, and we was called the Blackjack Gang, right? So we were terrorizing white people. And my cousin, Arthur Levias, he told us in 1959, he said, man, y'all not no blackjacks, we treetops. What's treetops? Our gang is treetops. All our streets are named after trees: Spruce, Maple, Cedar Street, Buda Street, Poplar Street. So in 1959, I became a treetop. And so that was our culture. As we grew and we grew, we were the canal boys. We had a canal that goes, bridge that go across the canal on Elm Street. So anybody that passed our going downtown Compton had to come past the canal. They had to pay us a quarter or fight somebody. So that was going across the troll. So I've been gang orientated or organizational orientated most of my life, you know. So when you say, after my father died in 1963, my mother didn't know nothing about raising boys. My father took care of everything. He was and so I was just out on my own. Me and my brothers, we were just in the streets brother by the name of Brother McKinley with the Nation of Islam, Minister Wazir, Brother Rudolph, he was the minister of 42 in Long Beach, California.
Okay,
and
yes,
he
sir.
said, "We want to come get you Sunday and take you to the mosque." And I believed in the good tooth fairy. I believed that rabbits laid eggs, and I was a real nigger. I grew up in Catholicism. I went to Catholic school. Found out in 1959 the first black saint was Saint Martin de Porres. Out of all the heaven, the first nigga got in heaven was Saint Martin de Porres, right? So the corruption of Catholicism, and my grandmother was a Baptist, and they were laying hands, and it never fitted with me. So when I got to the mosque in 1964, and Minister Wazir said, "Ain't you tired of this devil on your neck?" I didn't even know he was on my neck. You know what I'm saying? He said, "The black man is God, stand up." And I stood right on up, right? And that Tuesday, I went to juvenile hall. And we went from Compton to juvenile hall. You had to go to Eastlake Juvenile Hall down in LA. The gangs in LA was the Gladiators, the Slawsons, Captain Shaheed Muhammad. He was a businessman. You understand? Big old bullies. And so when we got down to Eastlake Juvenile Hall, we always had to fight. So they put us in the box until we went to Las Padrinas. And there's this one white man named Mr. Robinson, an ex-Marine. When I came to R&R, he said, "Oh, here comes that damn Kinsey again. Man, let's get rid." I said, "Yeah, man, I know you're going to put me in the box because the white man is the devil." He said, "Man, no, we all the same." He said, "No." He went and got me some cookies and milk. And that little bit of education, I found out that I could deal with the devil right then. And I couldn't wait to get out of juvenile hall and get back to the mosque. So I got into the Nation of Islam in '64, and I went to prison in 1968. And when I got to youth, I got stabbed in Tracy and got signed, went down to YTS, started the miles in YTS in 1969, 40 believers out of Youth Authority, because at that time I was 18 and I could get my ex. And so it went on from there. And from 1968, 69 in YTS, I was involved in a riot, and somebody perished, and I went to San Quentin in 1972. So at that time in the 70s, the Nation of Islam was too slow for me. I was active and proactive. And so it became the Panthers, and I was in Kawahita with Maulana Ron Karenga, African nationalism in Youth Authority. And when I got to San Quentin, all my homies said, when I got there, I was scared to death when I arrived in San Quentin. And all my homies was BGF, Black Guerrilla Family.
Yes, sir.
And we ran that line for 52 months in San Quentin. And I got out in bicentennial 1976, and found out that the Black Guerrilla Family, the revolutionaries, was selling heroin, dealing with homosexuals, and it was, and I started selling PCP. And when I started selling PCP economically, the Piru gang, them young dudes, they was all having money, putting all the minority, they was all having money. They was progressive. They wasn't like Crips, in the back in the day, they said cowards ran in packs, and they were, the Crips were the most destructive things in California. Knocked off Christmas holidays, all social events, because of their ravaging their own community. Some of them claim to you that they were culture revolutionary party protecting their own, but they never did anything in the early ages, anything against white people. They did it to their own, And the Bloods and the Pirus came about to protect themselves from having their leather coats taken, having their tennis shoes taken. Just because you have a homeowner and you're a family don't mean you won't fight for your stuff. So I became a Piru economically. If you ever jump me in a gang, we ain't gonna never be friends. Me and my friends don't fight each other.
That's right. That's right.
So it's changed, because in a gang, to be in our gang, you had to either rob a store, do something, bring some money in, not for us, but for yourself. You just can't sit around holding your nuts, drinking a drink, talking about what you did before. You got to be active. So, and that's why I say I'm the oldest Piru member in the world, because I'm trying to, the same thing Minister Farrakhan is doing, trying to bring back our dead race. You know, I'm trying to revive some of these young soldiers, because everybody in the mosque ain't Muslims, you know. That's so right. I can't understand you doing a fast. We do Ramadan for 30 days and you come out weighing 5 pounds more than you weigh, you know. So it's some things. I'm just finishing Ramadan now. I was been in such a state in what, you know, the things that were going on spiritually and mentally with me. And I said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we did Ramadan in December because it's the time that blacks waste the most money, drink the most liquor, and wake up in January broke. So I started this December the 1st doing Ramadan. I'm fasting, doing the daytime hours, because I believe this: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay. In the Hadith, it says any new invented matters is a disservice, and all new invented matters are for the hellfires. So what we've done and what we do, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us the blueprint how we should live our lives. You know, and the biggest problem with blacks in America, whenever anybody else comes around us, we start taking on their attitudes. You know, we try to do what they do. No, they done went astray where they was. We on point right here. I believe that.
Yes, sir.
To make a long story longer, old people always have a gang to talk, bro. So that's how I became a Piru gang member, Piru member. Piru is a street in Compton. It's not a gang, it's a street. And I'm a citizen of Compton. So Piru is citizens of a street in Compton, and we just trying to get our nationality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And people are showing you love all around the world. Thank you all for watching. Our brother Ayatollah Marv, Sister Miriam says peace family. Sister Naima says peace family. Brother Nelson Ramos, Assalamu alaikum, beautiful Muslim family. And shout out to our YouTube family, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you all for showing love to our guests. I wanted to ask you, when you hear people, a lot of rap artists made the terms and wear the sweaters, Bompton. Is that something that you have to be born in to say, to in order to be like to represent Bompton?
The word Bompton, I like to say I created the word during the 92 riots, because I told you Compton was the first black-run city west of the Mississippi. Bompton is a term saying that we're a black town, or by the famous words of Melvin Farmer from A-Tray Gangster Crips. He said, we don't set we set trends. You know what I'm saying? So when you say Bompton, you're explaining it was a black town. It's not anymore. And that's my job right now, is to build Mighty 54 back up the rock. We done some marvelous things from the beginning of Mars 54 when Shaheed brought it back in 1990. That's 10 square miles. There's some amazing people come out of Compton, California.
That's right.
They say Bloods rule the streets of LA, Power rules the world. You understand? Algebraic term. So I'm just, they don't hold me accountable for my mouth. My heart's still kind of good, you know. But everywhere you go, people are talking about Compton, California, you know.
Yes, sir.
So that's how Bompton came about. Go ahead.
Okay, no, yes, sir. But I wanted to ask you, speaking of Bompton and California, a lot of people want to go to LA to visit Disneyland, Rodeo Drive, and things of this nature, go to Roscoe's or different restaurants, and don't want to check in. And some do want to check in. What are your thoughts on the term checking in and the policy of checking in?
Well, see, anybody with any common sense, any well-thinking man, if I go to a foreign land, I need to check in to the people that know that land, right?
Yes, sir.
So checking in is not a disgrace. Now, if you charge, now I don't pay rent to nobody's state. Now, if you want money from me or something else, let's see how that work out for you. When we go to another mosque, we have to check in. You have to take a traveling letter there. You know what I'm saying? So it's common sense for any intelligent person. You don't just, they say it's not but two things in the jungle: predators and prey. So you come to my state and want to find out who the predator and who the prey is. Don't just come in blind. What's the little boy name? PMB.
Yes, sir.
He went to the most vicious Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle on the planet. He could have went to Los Angeles. He could have went to Hollywood. He went to the East Side, bro, and got his liver smoked. Why would you do that? But that comes from bad instruction. Your OGs are not telling you the truth. Let you think that you were just started. We got some brothers in the nation feel like this just started with them.
Yes, sir.
The leader been here a long time doing this work, bro.
That's right. That's right.
And you think you can come in and undermine him? Somebody that God put there? Allah placed him there. I remember he said in 1986, he got a tape about went to the OPEC nation. And he went to the OPEC nation, and the OPEC nation came and told him that they would give the nation money if he would get with Wallace. And that Wallace had the hadith and he had the discipline. And Minister Farrakhan told him, ain't no discipline in the world. Ain't no hadith in the world putting me where I am. Allah put me. So if you want to give money to Wallace, give it to him. If you want to give it to me, you give it to me. Because now me and my brother haven't even shed blood. And you hypocrites over here killing each other. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a power that he's went through sickness trying to save a people that don't want to save themselves, bro.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so excuse, I'm off that bandwagon, but what was the question?
Okay, yes, sir. That was good about checking in, because a lot of people, when we the last time I went to Los Angeles, the first person, that was like 2017, the first person I called was of course our brother Captain Shaheed, and let him know that I was in the city, and he was, he was very cool, loved my father and loved my family, so he was letting me know. I let him know I was out there for business, and just let him know I'm in your city, I'm gonna be taking care of things, and it was all love, and that's just what we do as Muslims, what we do as FOI. It's a smart thing to do.
And that's what you do. Everybody in the world, when get to Babylon, they check with Shaheed Muhammad, because he's the man that'll put you on the right path. So checking in is not a dishonor. Now, it's dishonorable for you to come to me and I tell you, oh man, I'm putting my boys with you, and you gotta pay us $5,000. Or if you gotta pay me $1, nigga, that's not happening. That's why they got police. You talk to me, you ain't gonna talk it to the police. So no, checking in. See, it only becomes a problem. It's never been a problem with checking in until a white man said he wasn't checking in. When the little white boy said he ain't doing no check-in, now all these coons got mad about it. But before it was okay, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We follow what we say. A brother said one day, and it really answered a lot of my questions. He said, Marvin, do you realize that black people don't want to be free? We just want white people to like us. Just want white people to like us. We've been in every war that America's had since they dropped on the Plymouth Rock. We've lost blood, we've lost lives, we've had anguish with all of their wars. And out of 50 states, we ain't got one. That's bad economics, bro.
Yes, sir.
You know, so checking in is good for your health, I believe. Every state I go to, I check in.
Yes, sir. Okay. And I wanted to ask you about Brandy and Ray J, and how you guys started working, how that came about with you working with them and protecting them.
I didn't, well, that was my first my first gig when I got out of prison, Captain Shaheed got me down at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. You know, I'm making $5 an hour. I'm like, shit, I didn't make a dime in prison, so that was a bonus, right? So one night we were out, me, Big Bill, Brother Patrick, we're at Roscoe's, and they told us some people were harassing Brandy. Them, they come in every Friday night after they come from the studio, and some little Crips was in there arguing with them, and like we go in there like, bro, y'all got to leave, and we Mansfields, this our neighborhood, like, bro, okay, it's your neighborhood, but this Roscoe's. We got into a squabble with them, and it became all out. And Brother Hakeem, like, bro, you brothers is out here doing this. You want to make some real money? Like, real money, as long as it ain't robbing no banks, or as long as it ain't a felony, what you need. You dig what I'm saying? And so he said, yeah, man, well, I'm gonna get in contact with Captain Shaheed Muhammad. And the next job I had was working on Set It Off with Queen Latifah and Jada Pickett. And that started me on my way, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give me just 1 minute.
Perfect. And while we waiting on our brother, thank you all who are watching. We have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. Yes, sir. We're just going to do a quick 60-second commercial break for all the sponsors of the People's Podcast. Thank you all very much who are watching. And we're coming back, and I'm going to answer all of your questions and comments. 1 second. There we go. There we go. Boom.
Any of those services. Sister Miriam's ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now Spanish book. All three available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta Dress in the best of fashion. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on adulsharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon.
Perfect. And we're coming right back to our brother. We want to thank Sister Sherry Muhammad and all of the students of Asiatic Minds. Please enroll your children in Asiatic Minds. They teach STEM virtually to young kings and queens all across the country. Asiaticminds.com. All right, right back to our brother Ayatollah Marv, and people are showing you love all around the world. The next question that I have for you, sir, is how did you get one of my favorite fighter of all time is Mike Tyson. How did that come about, and what was it like working with our brother?
Oh, man, that's one of the best details I've ever had. You know, through Captain Shaheed Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had just finished doing Gridlock with Tupac, and Suge had went over it and didn't want to deal with the Nation of Islam anymore, and hired out some police, and he started dealing with the police. And so we got out after that movie was over. We left that detail, and I went over and started working with Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. And well, speaking of like Tupac, of course, I saw the interview. We've all saw the interview where some of the snippets of you saying that you and Captain Shaheed actually tried to warn Biggie. Yes, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, that was after Pac got killed. We were at the fight when Tupac got killed, and then again when Biggie after we left, I went to the feds. It was just before I went to the feds. We were on the detail with Barry Hankerson. Barry Hankerson, Aaliyah, Genuine, and what was what's the DJ's name? I can't think of his name. They had the other little dude, Magoo. They were just introducing Magoo.
Okay,
And we were at Hotel Nico in Beverly Hills, and that day, Biggie and Pac pulled up. I mean, Biggie and Sean Combs, they pulled up in an SUV. It's about 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock in the daytime. And they jumped out the car. Biggie and one of the securities, they went across the street to Fatburger. And Puffy was walking up, and Shaheed walked over to Puffy. I was walking behind Cap. He walked up to Puffy and told Puffy, "Hey, Puffy, if you need anything, man, I'm here." Puffy telling him, "No, Shaheed, I got it." And up walked on the side of him was 2 detectives. Now that one of the brothers was just telling me a couple of weeks ago, the detective that was with him is this Peckerwood, Greg Keating.
Okay, yes, sir.
That talks about the killing, and he knows so much about this. Yeah, you know a lot about it because they was in on it. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yes, sir.
So, we have to be politically correct today.
Yes, sir.
You know. So yes, so Cap and Tony. One thing about it, in that whole era, from Busta Rhymes to Romeo Must Die, every detail that Captain Sharif had in NOI security and on this West Coast with Shaheed Muhammad, we've never lost one. We've never lost one. It's nobody that got jacked under the Nation of Islam security. Nobody's gotten killed. You're in the safest place with the Nation of Islam. Once they abandon us, everybody go to hell on a skateboard. Not everybody, most of them. Physically, mentally, or morally.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, that was how the situation that came about with when Biggie met his untimely demise, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, great. And thank you for this history, and people will bear witness saying one love, brother. Thank you for truth, teach on, preach. Excellent. Thank you all for showing love to our brother. I wanted to ask you, once everything happened, when we study all these years, that was before my time. But now I've learned names like Poochie, Orlando, Buntry, Stutterbox, like all of these names I'm learning just because me loving history and loving, all of the great times and things like that. What can we take away from that for the young generation to avoid a new generation that's just all out war on each other?
Well, what we can take away is that the same thing we learned in the Nation of Islam is no mystery God, and deal with the actual facts. We've been so blinded and mesmerized by the devil's veil. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in an interview in 1963, he says, when you finally see, when the devil finally pulls off the veil and you see who he really is, you will not even be surprised because you'll be so much like him. So now we become so much like devil, we ain't even scared no more. So I was listening to a interview with a sister named Marie Muhammad, supposed to be one of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's grandchildren. That's a bitter young girl and went into Christianity. I can testify in my little life at 73 years old that I've lived to see that everything that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said was the complete and exact truth. He didn't say one word is a lie, not one word. So whatever the family want to think or whatever their little bruised ego is, he raised a nation of Black people. The Nation of Islam, out of everything else, from the Marcus Garvey movement to Rosewood, to Black Wall Street. Every time a Peckerwood destroys a Black nation, they never grow, never rebuild. When Wallace lost the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan came back in the person, and it's the only organization that has been risen again. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he said the nation will fall, but if it rises again, it will never fall.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yes, sir.
So I'm just saying a word from the prophet that the gods made, and Minister Farrakhan made it law and made it true. So it's not one thing that these hypocrites can talk about that he did wrong. He lived a whole life from 1930, and now cracker. In every one of his speeches, he said he would give $10,000 and his head if they said one word. So it should have been some Peckerwood if he didn't want the head, just wanted the notoriety, huh?
Yes,
so
sir.
For those that don't know, that's what I can tell young Blacks today, that there is a God. Allah is God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you're a part of that if you want to be. And if you don't want to be, you'll die with Satan.
Go ahead and teach. Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother. Ayatollah. You teaching. And my sister Naima says teach. Brother Daniel E. Out of Phoenix says Assalamu alaikum salam family. Brother Jihad, thank you all for saying teach. Okay, I wanted to ask you, speaking of being locked up, it's almost like a rite of passage for young people to want to say, I've been to prison, I've been to jail. What would you say to scare straight people who don't, to avoid prison? What would you say to the young generation about avoiding prison?
I said that's the most ignorant statement on the planet Earth, and I was part of that, right? And that scared straight shit. Excuse me, but that's what got me in prison. Let me tell you a story. I was in TNV Juvenile Hall. I was like 10 or 11 years old, about 11, right? In East Lake Juvenile Hall. And at that time, they was called prison preventers. And these three guys came in. One Mexican, one white boy named Murphy. I forget the Mexican's name, but the Black guy's name was Billy Jackson. And Billy Jackson came into Juvenile Hall, and we were all little kids. And he said, you know what? I started right here where y'all started from. I was in Juvenile Hall, and I went to camp, and I left camp, and I went to YA, and I end up in murder. I'm in San Quentin right now. And you little niggas would never make it in San Quentin. If you went to prison, you'd be washing somebody's drawers and somebody be fucking you in the ass. And we were scared to death right then. And you know what, in my back of my mind, bro, what I thought about then? I'm tough as you. And when I taught my case in YA and went to San Quentin, you know the first person I asked for was Billy Jackson. Who is Billy Jackson? 11 years later, I found Billy Jackson. And I said, bro, you remember me? He said, no, bro. I said, remember you came to Juvenile Hall and said that we'd be washing somebody's drawers and somebody would fuck us in our ass? I came here to ask you, who did it to you? Oh, man, no. But everybody is not scared. Some people will take the challenge. Anybody can go to prison, bro. The man that has a testimony to me that was in the street every day, never snitched on nobody, grew up and had a family and never went to jail. People that go to jail is like flunking in the 3rd grade and having to go back to kindergarten. That's retarded stuff. So it's no, I just got out. You out of a cage, you learned nothing, you did nothing. So it's no accolade to be a slave, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You teach it. And speaking, I heard that I heard you say that you were locked up with somebody named Angelo Bono. Could you let us know who
Angelo
that
Bono,
Bono.
Hillside Spring.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Angelo Bono he had 20 bodies. Angelo Bono, me, Cookie Williams, Doc Holliday. That's who gave me this name, Ayatollah. James Doc Holliday, the leader of the DGF in 1979. We had the Skid Row Slasher, Bobby Joe Maxwell. We had some of the most vicious killers on the planet. on D Road, D
Mm.
Road in 1750. So I didn't. A guy told me one time, "Man, you ain't no legend." No, I'm not a legend. I make legends.
Yes, sir. That's right. Okay. Well, I wanted to ask you, will you ever write a book and or you want to write a script about your life?
Every time I started, it seems like I'm bragging about something. My testimony of being a failure is not impressive to me. You know what I'm saying? So my mother told me I should write a book back in 1970, when I started my life off. And by the grace of Allah, I've had 360 degrees. I've been in 40 states and 5 foreign countries, and a dude out of Compton, California, by the grace of Shaheed Muhammad, Mike Tyson. I worked for Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston. They went to the Wailing Wall. I've been blessed to do these things. A dude off of Elm Street. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
No better. I'm exactly 6 feet. I'm not a big old impressive guy, but if you mess around, I may be the last guy you see. So when Shaheed works, when I do things, it's it's for real. I'm not in front of the camera. I'm mostly behind the camera.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I do covert work.
Yes,
I did work, and now I'm just out in front trying to show. I'm not in the Mars every day, but I'm in the street every day.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Anybody
sir.
want to see me? I'm up and down Rose Frame. If you want an interview, you can get it on Rose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, yes, sir, brother Ayatollah. I look forward to meeting you in person. I definitely want to see you in person and break bread and learn some more things from you, hear some more of your stories. But I wanted to ask you, hold on, one more thing. I had some notes because people were sending me all these different questions about asking you, oh, being a father, what advice would you give to future fathers?
Man, being a father, the most important thing I've learned about being a father is giving time to children, giving a child time to grow. And it was a time, it was do as I say, not as I do. But I found out in the real interim of bringing children to their full extent, you got to find out who in the hell they really are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can't teach somebody you don't know. So we have to, I believe, and I'm not the greatest father. 90% of my life, my children grew up. If my sons had depended on me, they'd be sitting down to pee because I was in prison when they were growing up. And they were around their mothers. I'm blessed that they became young men, but that's what's wrong with this generation right now. Gang members today are sentimental. They got so many female qualities. Their feelings are hurt so quickly. But they've been around women all their life and gay ass men. That's a problem. And Black men don't stand up. Well, man, I can't say, don't get old and scared. I mean, if you ain't got nothing else to die for trying to save a kid.
Yes, sir.
Man,
yes, sir.
I can't talk to them. No, your coward ass is scared to death because you can't do anything. As long as you're selling them dope or telling them something about, what do you care about what I did in 79? What are you doing today? So all us Black men need to be fathers to all Black kids. Beautiful. And child, no matter what you say or what he say, he won't discipline. He'll tell me one time, I'll call the police on you. Well, I'll make you call them on me.
Yes, sir. All right, we got two more questions for you, brother. Can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And thank you again.
Yes, sir.
And on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, we thank Allah for you and the many sacrifices that you've made, your family has made, and we are so honored that you would take time out of your busy schedule to come and continue to do the work that you're doing in the city of Bompton, California. It means a lot to the people there. It means a lot to us watching you and your redemption story. I think that your movie, your life is a movie, man, a book. So I look forward to seeing the great work that you continue to do. Two more questions. I want to ask you, what type of music do you listen to, sir?
Rock music.
Okay.
I feel like you have to deal with what this says. For every generation, there's a woman. I can't listen to jazz and worry about how you talking today. I'm in a cloud. Oh, I don't listen to that music. We need to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yes, sir. So you listen to rock and roll?
No, rock and roll. I don't even like that. All rock and roll and R&B was bad times for me. I was in juvenile hall of prison. Beauty's only skin deep. I didn't even have a girlfriend. So,
so jazz music is what you listen to?
Huh?
So what type of music do you listen to?
Rap.
Okay, rap. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Rap. Okay, yes, sir. Okay, good. All right, got it. And my next question, and people are showing you saying this is great. Your life will be a wonderful book. Great interview, great subject matter. Thank you, brother Ayatollah Marv. Thank you all for everyone who's showing love. My next question is, sir, what would you like your legacy to be?
I like my legacy to be that no matter how backward this brother was, he tried. You know, that's it. I mean, I've had a amazing tutelage. Shaheed Muhammad is one of the greatest captains, one of the greatest Muslims on the planet. In my eye, under Mr. Farrakhan, he's shown so many on this West Coast and everywhere else how to be men. I mean, responsible men. He's wherever you come to his house, it's always been immaculate. He's always stayed in palaces. He followed the word of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Good clothes, having money, and friendships in all walks of life.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't say it. He shows it to you. Here's some things that's so amazing that I've been around with this guy, even the Jewish community, the JDL, reverence this black man here. So people take him lightly. On this West Coast ain't a badder captain on the planet than him. Yes, I don't care what they say. And it may sound like hypocrisy. I do play favoritism. That's who I like. So yes, sir. I'm blessed to be a part of him. Captain Dennis, about a month ago, about 2 months ago, about a month ago, I believe. And Captain Dennis gave me one of the greatest compliments it is in my life. And then he spanked, right? He said, Bro Marv, man, I just had to call you. You know, I saw you on an interview, and every time one of us see you, we think about Big Shy, man. You was Shy's right-hand man. You doing this, man. Brother, you're one of the most prolific Muslims. You have all the potential. He said, Bro Marv, but you know, I used to see you with them waves going down the side of your head. He said, bro, Muslims don't wear no damn braids. So he spanked me with love. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Come out these braids, Shirley. I'm still kind of rebellious and stubborn.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So yeah, that's the, you know, I just want brothers to know that I try, you know. It ain't no big eyes and little U's. Actually, with me, I'm not that big of a guy. But like I say, I make legends.
All praise due to Allah. And what a great legacy you have, sir. And everyone who's watching, please watch the only interview that Captain Shaheed ever did is on the People's Podcast. He gave me that honor. Shout out to Captain Dennis for allowing me to interview him as well and all of the guests. But now we've added our brother Ayatollah Marv to that list. This means a lot to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Like Islam, give your father my greetings too, bro. I love that man.
Yes, sir. I will, and I look forward to coming. I gotta check in. I want to travel to Compton. I want you to show me all the areas. We get the cameras. We'll do a big so we can just learn what it's like to really be out there. We really want to learn.
Oh yeah, well, hey, I'll be in your town shortly.
Okay, yes, sir.
I got some little homeboys in Albany, and some, my nephew, he stays, Ray Shrimmer, Slim Jimmy, he stays in Atlanta.
Oh, I didn't know that was your nephew. Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Sway and Slim, those are my nephews.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay, so we definitely got to connect, and I look forward to that. And may Allah continue to bless you and the family. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Salam, sir.
Thank you all for watching.